I grew a $1 million a year business on LinkedIn in less than 12 months with only organic content and direct messages. And in this video, I'm just going to walk you through exactly how I did it from start to finish, the 3 main tactics and strategies I use, and all of the stuff that I teach our clients in our program for 7-figure creators, where I coach 500 plus creators on LinkedIn, how to make their first 6 and 7 figures. Before we get into it, this is my Stripe account, so you can believe me. I just wanted to show it. So that's month to date. We're a couple of days off the end of the month. If we look at all time since I started, we've got $1 million cash collected as well. And that's how we got there. And I really wanted to record this video because there's so much junk content out there. And especially all this edited and prettied up stuff where people are reading from these like telemonitors, like on the top of their screen or whatever you want to call them. And the only content I've seen like on LinkedIn on how to make money on LinkedIn, especially on YouTube, like longer form content, it's just edited stuff that like copywriters wrote that someone's just copy pasted and they're just reading off this teleprompter and they just get it really nice edits in. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to record this video just absolutely raw. I'm not going to do a single edit. I've barely prepped because I just want to walk you through exactly my process and how I do it, just so you can replicate this exact same thing yourself, just like 500 of my clients do. And I promise you, if you go through this video, this is going to be pretty much every single thing that you need to know to actually make money on LinkedIn, on the platform itself, and drive leads and drive revenue to your business through your personal brand. Because if you're someone like me who's been on LinkedIn, or if you haven't been on LinkedIn, when I first started on LinkedIn in December 2022, I started trying to generate leads, and create revenue for my business. Took me 6 months to realize the people in my feed and the $99 courses were just full of shit, and it actually requires a much higher skill level and many different skill sets to be able to do it at the same time. But before I get into it, I'll just tell you a little bit about me. I jumped into sales in 2018. I started working at Zoom as a salesperson. Before that, I was a depressed accountant who pretty much had a breakdown and had to move home with my parents because I fucking hated my life in accounting. You can see me here. This was my tax return. In 2018, I earned $44,770. And then I started working at Zoom, the company as well. After 6 months, I was number 1 in the world in my role. Out of 150 people, I got promoted 3 times in 3 years. And I was usually on the top 10 leaderboard in Zoom globally. And I closed the most amount of Zoom phone globally in 1 year as well for small medium business. And this is my income revenue in 2021. So this was pretty much the post-COVID period. And I made $791,430. So in that short period of time, it went fucking crazy. And that's how I built my skill of sales. And then after I finished up at Zoom, I co-founded another company called TeleSense. I didn't co-found, I became a co-owner. Michael had already finished it, and that business I drove to $1 million a year by doing 5,000 cold calls, booking 150 meetings, and Michael's still running that business super successfully. And then after that point, we ventured out, we went our separate ways, still good buddies. And then I started this company, which is 7-figure creators now, which was originally called Betterline. And when I started this company, I was hustling as an agency owner, and I eventually transitioned into a coaching company where I run a program now, where we work with nearly 500 creators all together. And I'll pull up the program right now and show you. Let me just load it up. There we are. So pull up the program right now. And so it's called Unlock AI. We're about to change the name to 7-figure creators. There's 455 people here, and there's a whole bunch of other people inside 7-figure creators as well. And there's a whole bunch of people absolutely crushing it in our wins section. If you go here, we post wins and get people doing it every Friday. This was hilarious. One of our clients got 2,000 comments on a lead magnet post, and he's like, how do I get some help? Jesse closed $45,000 in 7 days. That was the second offer campaign he ran. A whole bunch of other wins here. One of our clients got 75,000 impressions. Yeah, but it's been tons of fun helping people to actually make money on the platform. But that's just a little bit about me, because everyone wants to know credibility before, like, why should I listen to this person and why they're speaking. But let me walk you through now how you can essentially make money on LinkedIn and turn it into a 7-figure revenue channel and start making bank. I'm going to whiteboard it out and just show you guys the model that we use and the skills that you need. And then I'm going to dive deep into the tactics of every single one by one, so you know what it actually takes to make money on LinkedIn. So to make money on LinkedIn, or to become a 7-figure creator, right? That's what I like to call it, 7-figure creator on the platform. You need to execute and fix 3 things, right? You need to create content that leads to trust. You need to have conversations that lead to calls. And you need conversion optimization on your profile. And I'm going to explain to you what all of these are. And if you don't have these, and I'll explain to you how the math works as well, because if you don't have all of these things, you're leaving money on the table when it comes to LinkedIn. And I'll talk to you about the skills that you need for each one at the same time as well. So with LinkedIn, there's 3 kind of mechanisms that you can pull. You can create content, you can start chats with other humans, and you can turn your LinkedIn profile into a sales funnel. So your personal LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to show you examples of clients, myself, all that kind of stuff, but I need to give you the high level before we get into it, because otherwise you won't understand the detail and it'll be really difficult. Now, what nobody tells you when you're getting into LinkedIn is that it actually requires 3 skills, or 3 main skill sets to drive revenue from LinkedIn itself. Is because a lot of people, what they do is they say to you, and a lot of people look for shortcuts, is they say, hey, use these AI content templates to create the best content on LinkedIn. Or, hey, just set up these scripts and, if you do this outreach scripts, you'll book all the meetings you want. Or, hey, just set up your profile and make it look pretty like this, and then you're going to generate leads. It's all a fucking load of BS, right? Like, the thing about content templates, DM templates, and setting up your profile in a certain way is that all of it fatigues. So over time, people talk about like ad spend and stuff like that, and they always talk about your return on ad spend changing over time and the cost of impressions increasing. Because the nature of everything changes on LinkedIn all the time, if you just use templates, you're fucked, because eventually it's going to stop working, and then you're going to be like, I don't know what to do, right? So what you need to do, and the 3 skills that you need to actually be successful, is you need to get good at what's called copywriting. You need to get good at sales, and you need to get good at funnels. It actually requires 3 skill sets to actually get good at the LinkedIn platform as well. You can't just hack it away and just write great content if you don't have an optimized funnel, you're not capturing leads, and if you're not converting. You can, but if you do that, you're leaving fuck tons of money on the table. And that's what I see all the time. That's why I get really excited when I start working with a creator, like this creator Mondo that I started working with a couple months ago. He already had like 9 out of 10 content. So all I needed to do was plug in his DMs and his conversions. And he's only made it through 1 module in our program, like 1 out of 4 modules. And he's like, I can't even go onto the other stuff because I'm just booking so many meetings. Because how LinkedIn works and how many leads that you drive, I'll walk you through the outcomes itself. So to become somebody, right, who is, a 9 out of 10 on content, it takes years, a long time. And I've done content for a while. I would only consider myself maybe an 8.5 out of content. And I've been able to build up to 45,000 followers as well. But a 9 out of 10 on content. So, but to come that is really difficult. But how the actual math works, right, is the amount of leads you drive. So leads driven equals your copywriting score times your sales times your funnel score. That's the appropriate distribution that you're going to get to the amount of leads that you're going to drive. Because what happens is the traffic that you build from your content and the traffic that you do from your conversations leads into your funnel on your profile, and I'll show you how that works, which leads to more conversions. So it works as like cumulative interest buildup. And what most people do is they'll just go onto LinkedIn, they'll neglect DMs, so it'll be a 1 out of 10. They'll neglect a funnel, or they'll think that just putting up their profile is good enough. And then they'll be like, I'm just gonna go hard out on copywriting, right? Then this is how many leads you're gonna generate. You're gonna be 9 times 1 times 1 equals 9. So not the amount of leads, I'm just talking about the relative number of leads that you're gonna actually drive disproportionately. Now, if you go for sales, actually this math was wrong. It's not out of 10, it's out of 5. I fucked that one up. This is what happens when you don't do editing. It's out of 5. So 5 out of 5 are copywriting, 1 out of 5 are sales, 1 out of 5 over here. So over here it becomes 5 times 1 times 1 equals 5, right? But for most people, let's say when a copywriter comes to me and they're really good at copywriting, the reason I get excited is because the time it'll take for you to go from like a 1 to a 3 is like really quick for both funnels and sales. So why I get really excited and why I worked with so many copywriters on LinkedIn who I can explode their revenue growth, one getting to $96,000 a year within 6 months of working together, which was fucking crazy from 13,000, is because he was already a 5 at copywriting. So all I needed to do was get him to a 3 and a 3. And that equals 45, which is 9 times the leads. Literally 9 times the leads. And where people fuck up LinkedIn and they actually get it wrong is that they only focus on one of the skills and try and become the best. But the problem is it becomes the opportunity cost of trying to get good and trying to become a 5 out of 5 at copywriting is at the expense of spending a little bit of time getting uncomfortable in the DMs or spending a bit of time understanding funnels and how it actually works. So where you want to be on LinkedIn is if you're first starting out, you just want to get to a 3 or 3.5 for each. That's it. So where you want to be is you want to be a 3 times a 3 times a 3 equals 27. That is the optimal point that you want to be at with in the beginning of your LinkedIn journey and how to do it. You just want to get to a 3 of each. And getting to a 3 take you a couple of months at the skill, getting good at the actual skill of LinkedIn itself. Now, let's go through it one more time, and then I'm going to get into the juicy details. To become a 7-figure creator on LinkedIn and drive $1 million a year from LinkedIn, you need 3 things. You need to be really great at the skill of copywriting. Sorry, not really great, good at the skill of copywriting. You need to be good at sales and sales off LinkedIn, and you need to be good at funnels. You need to get a 3 out of 10. Most people make the mistake on LinkedIn is they just get fascinated by one of them and they're like, oh my God, like I just love copywriting. But I'm so uncomfortable messaging people. Or the other way around, you're a recruiter on LinkedIn and you're like, man, I can so easily chat to people. They're usually like over here in the sales boat. And they're usually like, 5 out of 5 on sales. That used to be me as well because I did a ton of cold calling, never new content. I was scared of it. And like, I don't really want to post content. Does it even do anything? How does it even work? And most people are like, what the fuck is a funnel? So they don't even know what that is. And so the reason why I'm able to book, I think we booked 153 meetings that turned up. So we booked, I think it was 201, 153 turned up last month on LinkedIn is because I'd probably put myself at about a 4 out of 5 or... 4 out of 5 here. I'd say I'm a 4.5 over here. Probably 4.5 out of 5. And I'm probably a 3 in funnels. I'm not going to lie. I'm not that good, right? And so if I add it together, right? 4 times 3 times 4.5. Right? Whatever that is. I can work it out. So that's 12 times... My maths is wrong. 12 times 4.5. Yeah, I'm a 54. And that's why disproportionately, let's actually make it blue. That's why disproportionately, if I look at me versus the insane copywriter, right, over here, or just the 5 as well, 5 over 54. So it's like 5 times, 54 times, it's 54 divided by 5. Yeah, it's why I'll make usually about 10 times the revenue of other people on LinkedIn. Because if you look at what I like to call, the way you can judge this is you do follower over dollar ratio. So what I mean by that is if I open up my LinkedIn, right? Let's go here. If I look at my followers, right, I have 45,000 followers, right? And so I go followers or I go dollars. It's actually dollars over followers. I need another coffee. I might have to pause this somehow. Dollars over followers. Right over here, and so I go. We're making about how much are we making on Stripe? We've got month to date this month, couple of days left. We're making 1.23. So let's say we're going to do about $130,000 a month, right? So 130,000 times by 12 equals 1.56 million. Pretty good actually. And so if I go, change the pencil. Getting used to this new tech setup. 000 divided by 45,000, 156,000 divided by 45,000 equals 34 to 1. 34.66 or 67 to 1. That's the ratio of dollars to follower ratio. So I make $34.66 per follower. So a really good gauge is to find your favorite influencer or whoever they are using LinkedIn, your favorite copywriter. Trust me, do the math. 200,000 followers, they'll make a couple of $100,000 a year. They got a 1-to-1 ratio, right? That's the true indicator of like how much you're smashing LinkedIn is your 1-to-1 dollar to follower ratio and how you're actually using it. And there's people that are way far exceeding even what I'm doing just because like they're selling much more expensive things at the same time. So if we quickly recap before we dig into the details, right, is that to be good at LinkedIn, truly good, you need to get good at 3 things: copywriting, conversion optimization, which is funnels, and sales. I'm going to dig in and show you my LinkedIn profile now and how it's constructed and how the whole thing works as well. And that is how you become a 7-figure creator. You need to dial in and get these things right. And where most people, and I've seen this, I've worked with like 500 people, I've chatted to probably thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people, is they find one thing that they're good at, they get really good at that, they neglect everything else because it's scary. Usually for creators or the copywriters, they're scared of the DMs, right? It's like, and they don't want to do it and they so just neglect it, right? It's like, or they, people don't, a lot of people for the funnel side of things, they just don't even understand funnels like whatsoever. And then for like salespeople or recruiters like myself, I used to be like that, is I was like, I'm scared of content. I don't know how to write content. And also I don't even know what good content even looks like as well. So I'm going to get into the details of each thing, but first I want to show you my LinkedIn profile, how it's constructed, how I do it. I'll walk you through how some other clients do it. And then we're going to dig into copywriting, sales, and funnels, all the different aspects, and then how you can apply it to your business or your personal brand and start making absolute bank from LinkedIn at the same time. So this is my profile, and what I might do is I might go through and explain the breakdown of a profile, how it works, why it matters, and then how the content and conversations piece builds into it. But one quick thing I forgot to tell you as well is that when you think about copywriting and sales, so content and conversations, these are what I like to call perpetual, meaning that you should never stop creating content and never stop messaging people, ever. Big mistake people make is they stop doing things when they work. This is something that you do forever because it builds up like cumulative interest, because your personal brand on LinkedIn is like investing in property, and it skyrockets in value the longer you do it, and the interest builds on itself. The value builds on itself. So this is perpetual, right? The funnel system is what I like to call projects, right? So you knock out the funnel or you knock out the pieces of your profile in project slices. So sometimes it doesn't happen all the time, and I'll explain to you why as we go through it at the same time. So first, let's look at my profile, explain the content and conversations, the tools and all that kind of stuff that we use as well. So when you look at someone's personal LinkedIn profile, and if you're not a LinkedIn person and you're like, why are you posting on your personal profile and not the company profile? People don't buy from companies. Look at Richard Branson on Twitter or X and look at Virgin, who has more followers. People buy from people. Sure, there are big brands that are different. When you're in a small business, it's totally different. And don't give me that bullshit where you're like, but what happens if I want to sell my business one day? It's like, you're not going to use the greatest advantage of all time, which is building your personal brand. And the other thing is every fucking small business is built off the owner building their brand. Maybe just not online, but in person, because the owner does everything and everyone knows them. And you have a fuck all resale value anyway. Literally you don't. So it doesn't matter. And when you're transitioning and going to leave your business, I haven't done it yet, but I know from speaking to fuck tons of people who make way more money than me, is that you're going to slowly leave the business. You're not going to do it straight away, all right? So don't come up with that excuse. I don't want to build a person. Fuck off. You already have a brand in person. You have a reputation. Like, you built your business off networks. That's literally how you did it. You're just putting it online. There's no fucking difference. Anyways, this one lights me up because I hear this all the time. I don't want to build it. Fuck off. All right. So first things first, when we actually look at the personal profile, there's a few key things that actually matter. And I wish I had a whiteboard thingy that I could go through with it. That'd be cool. So as you can notice, what you want to make sure, or the way you want your profile constructed, is your profile is the first stage in your sales funnel. So the whole purpose of your content when you write it is you want to drive people to your profile which is the first step in your funnel to take them to do the next action. So you want your profile geared around getting people to do the next thing. Super duper key. So if you look at my profile, it says here, you can see in the banner, what if LinkedIn generated leads while you sleep? It's got a call to action to do this. And this is pretty outdated, so maybe by the time you watch this, you look at my LinkedIn, our 7-figure creators brand will officially be out. You can see my photo. It's really zoomed in. You can see my emotions. Super clear. The reason why this looks like a billboard, this is super clear and it's zoomed in, is because 70% of people use LinkedIn from their mobile phone, right? And so they're looking at this. Small. You have to make it readable from the mobile phone. If you don't, because I see so many people with so many detailed things or their photos zoomed out, you want people thinking about you. That's why you're creating content. You want your picture, your crystal clear picture with emotions and you smiling in front of their face all the time, because that creates memory and that creates brand, because the brand gets created over the perceived value that you give people and the time you spend with them. And so by doing that and them seeing your face and they recognize it. Now you've got options about putting your color in the background because it makes people remind you about it as well. Now, if we get to the next few things, here, I actually changed my pronoun. The hack for this is literally, there's pronouns in LinkedIn. You can go in and hit edit. I think it's over here. You can change this. And the start here, this is what's called my hook or my headline or whatever you want to call it. This whole section matters a lot. The reason why is because look over here. I can see, Yasmin Alex one, growing the best brands and businesses on LinkedIn. You know exactly what this guy does from his hook at the same time. Jacob, helping solopreneurs sell 4 to 5 figure offers while working, pretty good. LinkedIn marketer, helping you build an influential. Mariam could probably make it a little bit better. Williams is good, 10x your personal brand with AI, right? You want it to have inside this hook and this headline, what you doing for whom. And that's super duper important because that's the thing. Because when you message people on LinkedIn and when you comment on people's stuff, the only thing they see is this. That's it. It's the first 45 or 55 characters. I can't remember what it is, right? The only thing they see is that. And so when you're leaving this or your metadata, like everywhere around LinkedIn, so you're DMing people here, you always want to be pulling them back to your profile and you want them to, know who you help and what you do in that short message. Now, you also have options inside here is to, add some social proof, work with me and this many creators, DM me, create a system, and let's chat. So I have a call to action to ask people to DM me. And all of these things lead to us generating thousands of leads, 153 attended meetings last month in Calendly as well. I'll pull that up a bit later on at the same time. These things all really matter on LinkedIn. Now, if you don't have the followers thing here, you've just got to change it to what's called creator mode. It should be in the settings. I'm not going to walk you through the settings. You can find it on YouTube. It's not valuable, right? Then we've also got what's called this visit my website button. Now I'm going to go into an explanation of what that is in a second, why it matters and where everyone fuck up because they put a book an appointment button there and how it's different. Now, if we scroll down the profile, there's another couple of sections. There's the featured section here. What the featured section is, it is the 1 to 2 things or the call to actions that you want people to do. So for me, I want people who want to generate 5 warm leads a week to click this thing. What big mistake that people make is that they say, let me scroll down. They say, book a call with me. Don't say that because what you want to do is you want to create a video sales letter or a landing page. So you want to call out the thing that they want to do, not book a call. People only want to know what's in it for them. If you say book a call, they're like, what's in it for me? I don't fucking know. I say, want to generate 5 warm leads per week? Click here. Which it is leading them down to book a call, but it's into a funnel. This is why funnels are important, right? And then over here, it just goes, unlock AI, 5 warm leads per week, no ad spend, join this many people, mastering blah, 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 interested, book a chat. There's a video sales letter here. And I'll get into video sales letters at the same time as well, but I just want to show you overall how LinkedIn works, how the system works. But this is part of the funnels part or conversion optimization because you want to massage and convince people to go through each of the next steps. If I had a book a call button here, 10 times less, like 1 out of 10 people would click it because they're like, I don't want to book a call now, but maybe I want more information. So you're massaging them to do the next step. So I see so many people put a calendar link in their profile here and it's literally like the worst idea ever. It's like, you're like repelling people. And the thing is, even when they click the calendar link, What happens if they don't book a time? You don't even know how many people click the calendar link, so how can you fucking even track it? It's really not good, especially if you're creating content. Like if you're spending hours and hours creating content and you're driving people to your feature section in your profile, right? To get them to take the next action. If you just say book an appointment, you have no way how many people want to book an appointment. What happens if, you don't have enough times available? All that kind of shit, right? So the way I've got it set up is they click this button, interested, they can watch this 11-minute video sales letter, which is there to convince them to actually want to work with me. And then you can see how this works before my good video setup, which that one sucked. This one's so much better. And then if they're like, cool, I'm interested, book a chat. We go to a lead form here. What's your name, email? Do you have this much time? This is the range. Could that work? The reason why this is important before you go to a calendar link is because a lot of people get to the calendar link and be like, oh, I can't find a time, I'm going to leave. But what this does, as I'll show you inside our Slack, is that when somebody clicks this button and fills it in and clicks book in a chat, or even if they partially fill it in, right? Even if they partially fill it in, we still get their deets. And I'll open Slack and show you now. Let me just pull it up. Let me go. Where is my tally form? Right, new message. Oh my God. We are put out for some job applications, so we've got a lot of tally forms. Latest. There we are. Submission. Matthew Lakajev. We've got my deets, right? So we've captured the details in our CRM at the same time because we found 1/3 of people that put their deets in don't book a time. And another tricky thing around time slots, you want to make sure that you have every 10-minute sessions available and as many sessions available at the same time because this whole scarcity thing, I've only got 3 times a day, no one actually believes it. They just want to pick a time that actually works for them and put it a few days in advance, but I'll get into that stuff later on as well. But like that's the feature section because you're convincing people and that's where the funnel stuff actually matters. Now, there's this section here called the About Me section and people spend days and weeks writing this and man, it's just a massive waste of fucking time. Like the way I've tested it is I wrote this whole section and then I put down here, DM me warm leads and let's have a chat. I've had like 1 or 2 DMs in like 6 months. I purposely put a different call to action. This doesn't fucking matter. I'm probably just gonna take this and change it and say, click on this link to watch this video. All the information is there because it just doesn't matter. So many people think, it doesn't matter. Literally just doesn't. You should be pushing them to consume the other content. The next thing that matters on LinkedIn is obviously putting out the content that you've done, and I'll deep dive into the different types of content and all that kind of stuff I do. There's lead magnet types of content, there's how-to types of content, there's the video content, there's all different types, and yes, impressions have skyrocketed down over a period of time. Whatever, impressions don't mean anything, it's revenue. I actually just did a post on this recently, how my impressions are down 41.2%, but my revenue's up 46.9%. I'll show you over here that my impressions are down 28 days comparison. 48% now. It's even worse. So my impressions are down 48%, but revenue is up 46.9% over that same period of time because impressions and followers don't make you money. So sweet. We went through LinkedIn. So that's the LinkedIn profile as well. So let's get into the different sections over here. So we've got first up the copywriting part. Then we've got sales, and then we've got funnels, right? And I'm going to go through these different ones, one by one. All right, I'm back. I just went and got myself a double shot latte because I wanted to get jacked up for this one, so I'm super excited. So let's decide which one we're going to go through first. I think let's talk about sales, right? Sales being selling in the DMs, messaging people, having conversations with them, getting them onto book calls, and we can even go deep into the book calls piece as well at the same time. In our program, I've got like 5 hours of a deep dive course walking people through step by step. I can't give you 5 hours of content here, but I'm going to give you the high level stuff on how to actually be successful inside the DMs, inside LinkedIn. Let me just close Slack so I don't get distracted. Cool. So sales, selling in the DMs. Now, before we get into selling in the DMs, I'll call this is the conversations module, right? There's a few fundamentals that you need to know with conversations. Now, in LinkedIn, I classify there's 3 types of conversations that you have. There's tier 1, tier 2, and then there's tier 3. What do I mean by that, right? Tier 1 is an inbound lead. And you need to treat these differently than you do tier 2 and tier 3. They're totally different leads. We've got tier 2 is what I call an intent-based. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And tier 3 is cold. Now, as I go through, I'm mostly going to be, I can talk you through cold. I've built business off cold calling, cold emailing, intent-based and inbound. But the way that LinkedIn's going right now, like getting these intent-based is usually like the best way to actually go about it. And I'll walk you through how, especially with the conversations and content and how that kind of is structured together. But one thing you want to note, when you have these different types of leads, people fuck this up all the time, is that when a lead is inbound, you want to respond to them and message them as fast as possible. A lot of people stuff this up, right? When a lead is inbound, it means something happened in that person's life, or they had something that triggered them, and they were like, man, I want to reach out to you, and I want this solved. So they want to get this action straight away. So when an inbound lead comes in, the quicker you get that person on the call, or you answer their questions, or just sell them the thing in your DMs, the better. And people don't do this, and they fuck up inbound leads, because inbound leads die as the emotion dies as you keep going through. Tier 2, right? As we go here in tier 3, you want to take these slow, in my opinion. Now, with tier 3 cold, right, and tier 2, you can go for the ultra direct method, right? And you can say things that are hyper-personalized, hyper-relevant to push someone on a call. But what happens, right, is if you do that, if you do that from the beginning and you go for this really pitchy message, and I'm not saying that it's good or bad, I'm just saying that I'd probably recommend it this way, right? Is that what happens is that you burn the lead. If you go too quickly into pitching, what happens is that person immediately puts their guard up and they're like, you're a salesperson. I'm not going to talk to you. So you've got to treat these leads differently each time. If someone comes in red hot and ready to buy, you fucking do whatever you can to make them buy right now. And if it's, you're selling a program, course, or whatever, it's a discount. If you're selling something that's really expensive and they're coming in red hot, you get them on a phone call as quickly as you possibly can. But if they're cold and if they're tier 2 or 3, you take your time with them. Because when you look inside, there's this little famous triangle, which everyone always talks about, and I can't remember what it's called, but there's only 3% of people that are ready to buy right now, and the rest are at the different stages, whatever the fucking they're called, doesn't matter, right? Is the fact that when somebody is 3% ready to buy here, when they're ready to buy, right, you act fast. There was a saying when I was at Zoom that if you didn't get back to a lead, if you got back to a lead that came in within 5 minutes, it increased your close rate by like 35% or something. Don't even know if it's true. People make up all these fucking stats. Doesn't matter. It's just, it proves that it actually works, right? And so, because the rest of the people over here are within the other 96%, you just don't know where they are. But what happens is if you go hard and you pitch, fucking boom, right? You're making the assumption that they're here, and so you're only tapping into 3% of the market. But wouldn't you rather nurture the market and take them from here to here? Man, I love playing with these colors. It's so fun. Wouldn't you rather take them from here to here over time? And this period of time can be 1 week to 1 year, even longer. That's the thing about a lot of people's DMs and why they fuck it up. They don't think on a long enough time horizon. I'm going to walk you through some of the meetings that I booked, some of the chats. You can have a look at them, right? They haven't done it on a long enough time horizon, and they're trying to shove people through in a couple of days. And when you act desperate as a salesperson, it decreases the chance that you're going to buy. And I'm going to explain to you now why, and then I'm going to show you some DMs and all that kind of fun stuff. But while like a lot of people like seeing in the weeds and in the tactics and stuff like that, exactly what to do, how do I write this message? The core thing that matters to you here is that you understand the fundamental principles of all of the things, so that each time, like why principles matter and why the fundamentals matter so much is so that you don't have to think and you just do. So for me, right, how I can move so fast and book so many meetings, create great content, all that kind of stuff now, right, is because I built the skill so I know what good looks like without thinking. And that's what like what really fast companies do move. And that's why they say you always want to hire like the best talent, right? Because it reduces the lag time of thinking. And so for me, when I'm just DMing, I don't need to look back at scripts or think about what's happening. I just know the principles and I just say it. And it might be a little bit different every time, but I just do it. It's the same for content. I can look at a piece of content, and I'll do that on this call, and I'll break down why it's good and why it's bad. And I can tell that because I have the fundamental skill. But if you just try to go away and be like, oh, I'm going to use this little tricky or this word or something like that, right? You'll never build the fundamental skills that are actually going to help you succeed and make money on LinkedIn. Because if you're using the tactics and templates and all this kind of stuff, right, that people steal, like, oh, this thing, it all fatigues over time. Like, it fatigues. But how to write algorithm-proof content, how to generate as many leads as you want for the rest of your life, and how to book meetings in your sleep-through funnels, you need to get good at the actual skill. That's why I'm going to talk so much about the fundamentals. Because when you get good at the skill and you learn the fundamentals, it means that when you DM, you don't need to spend that 10 seconds to reference that thing to DM. You can just DM. But that makes you go 10 times faster. And it accumulates over time. Because what happens is that when everyone starts off with stuff and they start off sucking. So I remember 12 years ago when I started CrossFit, or 13 years ago, I fucking sucked. And like, I remember there's this, I'm okay at CrossFit now. Like, some people say I'm all right. I don't think I'm that good. But there was this one movement in CrossFit that's called a double under, right? And a double under is like where you have like a skipping rope and you got to jump and skip, but you got to let it go under you 2 times. And so that's called a double under in CrossFit. And for 5 years, I avoided doing the double unders because I sucked at it. And I remember that there would even be workouts where I'd look at the workout beforehand and I like finish work, look at the workout beforehand, and I just wouldn't go because they had double unders. Literally, that's how scared I was. Until one day, I can't remember when it was, but I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to learn. And what I did is I just made myself do double unders every single day for like 30 days. That's it. And I was like, I'm going to fucking learn it. That's it. And I hated it and I went through it. But then I eventually broke through. I got good at the skill of double unders. And now double unders are actually my favorite movement, or one of my favorite movements in CrossFit. Like, I love double unders. When I see double unders on the board, when I go to the gym, I'm so excited. And when you break through and then you get good at the skill, when you learn the fundamentals, that's, from my experience, I've found that that's when you just start doing all the right things and it just starts building and building and building. But most people don't go through that valley of shit to actually get there. So as I kind of like talk through these different fundamentals and stuff, I'll give you the tactics, but I don't want to do that to you because it's doing you a disservice. Like when people are like, here's the 50 best LinkedIn hooks, right? And you get them and you use the hook, but if you don't know why, it doesn't matter. And it's like, it's not actually going to do the right thing for you. It's just like, smashing a candy bar for quick energy, right? But like long term, the broccoli is going to do you better, right? It's the same thing. So learning the fundamentals and the actual skills as well is everything, because then your speed to action, or the speed that you do things, is so much quicker. And that's why there's a guy called Sam Ubbins, who I love, who created school.com. He talks about becoming full stack. So when he built his company to $35 million, he only hired people that were quote unquote full stack, that could do all this stuff, because they move faster. Because if someone's got to ask you a question and wait 6 hours till you get back to them, you move slow. So you want to move fast. But there's these 3 different types of conversations. Tier 1, which is inbound, right? So when someone comes inbound to you, you want to act as fast as possible. Tier 2, which is intent-based, right? You want to be slow. And I'll talk to you about what intent-based is, and I'll show you in a second. Tier 3 is when you go cold, right? I'll go into cold and like how to do it. I'm not going to go into the hard pitchy messages at the same time. I could go into LinkedIn Sales Nav, but I'd way rather stick to this stuff, because if you remember these fundamentals, it means when you open up Sales Nav or you look at a Sales Nav tutorial, you'll remember, okay, these are the fundamentals that I've got to tick by at the same time. So let's start off by going through tier 1. And I'm going to tie in all of the different, like how conversion optimization of funnels matters and how content matters in here in creating these tier 1s in the conversations, right? As I kind of walk through it. Now, there's a few ways to get tier 1s in LinkedIn or inbound leads. Most people, what they do is they just write a post and then like DM me and like, let's chat. It's like, what? Like stupid, right? Like, sorry, it's not stupid. It's just like, this just infuriates me. And a lot of the like my annoyances that I have here. It's not that I'm annoyed at anyone else. It's that I spent 6 months from December 2022 to May 2023 doing this, and I'm annoyed at myself. That's where my frustration comes from, because I don't want you to go through the same experience, because I went through this even though I had tons of sales experience, even though I was like pretty decent at sales. Probably maybe a 4 out of 5, well, not a 5. But okay, so first way you're gonna get inbound leads, right? And I'm gonna talk about this visit my website section, which is super crucial. For me, when people come to my profile, because I have a funnel built and people click on this, right? And they go to this page, I get inbound leads while I sleep, because this funnel and this 11-minute video sales letter does the work for me, and it auto books people into the calendar, right? Into either myself or the sales team take. So we have a calendar over here, Calendly meetings. I can see all the meetings that were booked each day, right? Really, really cool. And so we have inbound meetings that come in while I sleep. And this is why it infuriates me so much when people who are massive creators have a calendar link in their profile and they advise other creators to put a calendar link in your profile. It's because you're creating all this content, you're spending so much time, you then want to massage people through the process, but you're not. So one way I get inbound leads is through here. They come through, book a time. We've got some automation set up. I won't get onto that as well, because that's another deep dive into Calendly. But they come in, they hit interested, book a chat, and then they go through, fill out the deets, then they pick a time. It pops on the calendar for an initial chat. That's the first way. And then when we do that, either myself or the sales team will reach out and be like, hey, super pumped to meet with you. Can you watch this video sales letter before? Yada, 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 right? There's so much stuff here to unpack. That's the first way to get inbound leads. The second way is I've got this about me section here where I say at the bottom, DM me warm leads and let's chat. Very, very little come from there. Pretty much a waste of time. I'm probably going to change this and point it to that section. Now, the other way, which is a massive hack, is that this visit my website button here, you can't really see it when you go to people's profile, but the reason it matters is if I look at my content here, and guys, I know I haven't gone into experience, skills, recommendations, none of that shit fucking matters. It's like a 2%. This stuff matters, right? So if I go show all posts, why the visit my website button matters so much is because when people see my posts in the feed like this, instead of them having to click on my profile, it says visit my website. And when they click that button, it takes them into my funnel. Like we don't even have a website right now. 7-Figure Creators website might be out by the time you watch this. We don't even have a website. We're doing $1.5 million a year. $1.5 million a year, no website. You don't need a fucking website. Like, it's crazy. But like, if you go here, right, people see my content in the feed. If they like it, right, then they can click to visit my website. And so when we tested it and when we were tracking, we found that 80% of the traffic came from this button and not even the featured section button, because it's easier for people to click it. But the problem that a lot of people do with this custom button, right, and I'll show you what they do, right, is they make this button, let me go more, I think it's over here. It's on the custom button, right? And to get this, you're gonna need LinkedIn Premium and you're gonna need Creator or whatever, right? At the same time, I'm not going to talk to you about how to get it. That's just a waste of time. You can find it on Google. Logistics. Is they have this section here that says book an appointment. But the problem is, if you don't understand funnels or copywriting and persuasion, right, is if you put a book an appointment button here, how many less people do you think are going to click on it? Fucking like a gajillion less people are going to click on it, because very little amount of people are going to be like, I want to book an appointment with this guy. But a lot of people will just do visit my website. And then it takes them down the funnel, which persuades them and then convinces them to book a time. So this is another way how we get inbound meetings and why it's super duper key. The other way that I do it is off the back end of a post. And I'm not even going to get into our email structuring campaigns off the back of this as well. But I think it's down here. So I write this post, right? And I do a story-based post about how my friend makes $12 million a year, doesn't even have a personal brand. Yada, yada, yada. I just say down here, DM me leads and let's chat. You know, if you want to get rich, not famous, blah, 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 blah. And so after I did this, had a whole bunch of people DM me leads. See, the reason why you want to add different types of call to actions, right? Different types of funnels, allowing people to do it. Different people have different personality profiles and they respond differently to different ways. And some people want to meet So some people actually want to have a sales call and chat to a human before buying. And they have a rule in their head that I'm like, I'm never going to buy without chatting to someone. That's the rule. Other people are like, I don't even take meetings. That like me, I don't take meetings and my phone is permanently on Do Not Disturb. It never leaves that. The only people that can break through it is like my family, my wife, and my business partner, Steve. That's it. No one else can break through the Do Not Disturb, right? I lost my train of thought there. Let me come back to it. Anyways, DM leads. People act differently depending on the personality. So Steve's personality, like he never wants to chat to anyone, period, right? Me, I like chatting to other humans. Briefly, I don't need a long chat, but other people, if I say think about my mum for an example, right? Is she loves chatting to people and she'd really want to chat to them and get to know them before she'd want to work with them at the same time. I don't know why I thought of my mum in that circumstance. Just her personality is just like very different, say, between the three of us, as an example. But different people act differently in different situations. And so you've got to treat people and allow them the ability to book meetings based off their personality type. Because if you only kind of have like one way to massage them through, it's not going to work. It's why a lot of big creators, in particular copywriters, in my opinion, are losing so much money, is because that they only focus on the copywriting piece and maybe they get the funnel conversion down, but their DM game is like way off. But when you unlock the DM game, you can make hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Like I did this, the last company I was at, I cold called us to $1 million a year without any content as well. Like if someone said to me, Matt, you've got a week to do as much revenue as you possibly could, I would just cold call people. Like I would just hard out DM or direct message people and doing it at the same time. So when we get into the different types of inbound messages, you go through, they come to you and they're inbound. So that's the first type of message. Now, when you receive these types of messages, right? Inbound, right? That are down here, you want to act as fast as possible. And so there's a few different options and different things that you can do at the same time. And the reason I can't give you this is the playbook that you should DM people or how you should respond or how you should react, right? The reason I can't give you that is because every single person has a different avatar or potential or ideal potential client, right? Potential client. And because everyone has an ideal potential client that's different to other people, you have to treat people differently. You have to, right? If let's say if a 50-year-old CEO comes at me with an inbound meeting, right? Inbound. 50-year-old CEOs want phone calls and they want to talk to the guy. That's them because they were raised that usually, especially in Australia, maybe in different countries it's different, but culturally in Australia, 50-year-old CEOs, they want to talk to the human, build the rapport, and a lot of Australia's economy is built from these old schoolboy relationships where they're all buddy-buddy and they refer to each other. Like that's why, in my opinion, a lot of these older businesses are just failing because they built it off just these relying on these relationships over a period of time. They don't actually know how to generate leads. And when they try to do it, they can't do it because it's really hard. And the other thing was easier because they built it up over time. But when a 50-year-old CEO comes to you, you want to just get their number, and you want to say, LinkedIn sucks. So, hey, this LinkedIn messaging thing's terrible. Can I get your phone number? You're available for a quick call right now. That's how you want to treat someone like that. Because they just want you short, sharp, get me the fucking information, get me the message. It's the same if you're cold DMing a CEO, straight to the point, exactly what it is, realize that they have no time and direct pitch them. But when you're going to like a marketing manager or something like that, maybe it's going to be totally different. That's why I can't give you the templates and the scripts. Like I'll show you stuff, but I can't give it to you because everyone's totally different. So the script that I may give to you might not work for your avatar. So you need to know the principles and the fundamentals so you can create the stuff to actually send to people at the same time. So, a 50-year-old CEO, number, LinkedIn sucks, quick call, right? If I'm going to talk about versus a 25-year-old creator on LinkedIn, right? Like, they don't want to call. Most of them don't want to call. They want no call. They want all the deets. And a lot of the time they just want to move fast and they want to buy fast. And this is how you need to treat different people differently, especially in the DMs. And this is why a lot of people stuff it up and why they'll use templates and they'll find stuff online and like, why doesn't it work? Or maybe it worked really well for my buddy's business, it's not working for me. I'm sending this automated stuff. It's because the person or the avatar that you're reaching out to is like totally different for everyone. Like if you're reaching out to people like, let's say, for example, if you help people get jobs in tech roles, right? And you work with unemployed people, very, very different mindset than a 40-year-old mum who you help them, start an online business, right? Like whatever, it doesn't matter. They're different mindsets of different people. And so if you don't understand the fundamentals and you don't understand the avatar or like the person that you're speaking to, it's very hard. You can't tailor the message to that person. It's like really, really difficult. So with the tier ones, how you want to act, it totally depends. Now, as a rough principle, right, around how you want to act or treat these. One is you want to act as fast as possible. Fast as possible. Now, generally you want to do a thing called qualifying. Next up is I'd start qualifying. What I mean by qualifying is if you just jump on a meeting with anybody, right, you don't know if they're a good fit. So the way that I would say it is I'd be like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Before we lock in a chat, mind if I ask a couple of questions before we jump on a meeting, right? Say that first. The reason I've layered in the words, mind if I ask a couple of questions before we jump on a meeting, even if you're not going to jump on a meeting, right? You want to dangle the carrot of the meeting so that the person is like, oh, I've just got to answer a couple of questions before I get on a meeting. And if they're not a good ICP, you can literally tell them, hey, you're not actually a good fit for our program. But you've incentivized them with the meeting to be able to answer the questions, which matters a lot. So all you got to ask them is just say, start qualifying. You just say, hey, you just say, mind if I ask a few questions before chatting, whatever it is. Semantics don't matter. The principles matter. I know you're thinking, Matt, just give me the script of what to do. It's like, it's going to change over time. You're going to learn how to write the script anyway. Otherwise, I'm not going to do you a benefit. Hey, mind if I ask a couple quick questions before we catch up? 3, you want to use some type of a qualification methodology. Now, there's one out there called BANT, Budget, Authority, Need, and Timeline. It's a super basic one. I know a lot of salespeople are going to debate me on this, be like, don't use BANT. It doesn't fucking matter. Just ask them. The principle under it is ask the things you would want to know. Want to know before meeting them. Right? Like literally, what do you want to know about the person before you actually meet with them? Right? That's it. So for me, I'd ask some questions like, cool, what's the product? How much is the product or service that you're selling, and how many have you sold, or approximately how many leads for it have you generated in the past, right? If they say, I haven't done anything, I'm not even trying to generate leads, I'm like, you're not a good fit, right? Or if someone comes to me and they're like inside a company working, a bigger company with say 50 employees, and I will say to them, hey, is this for you or is this for your company? If they say it's for your company, I say, sorry, I'm not going to meet with you because we only meet with people, or our program only caters for like business owners, usually between companies less than 20 employees who invest into LinkedIn. So I want to qualify them in or out. And you can even ask questions like, what inspired you to reach out, or like what kind of made you want to do the push, get some of the pain, right? As you go through and qualify them, and let me add this point in, right? If you have low flow, meaning low leads, right? You want to do less qualifying as a general principle. Because every time you qualify, or the more you qualify, the questions you ask, a certain percentage of people will drop off. Always. That's just what happens. So we have a page in our form, which I'll show you here, right? Down here, if I go into our funnel, next steps. Oh my God, let me go back here. So inside our funnel, it says, being honest, the program is not cheap. We guarantee results. It isn't 10K, but it's more than a 999 course, right? Now, because I put that in there, a certain percentage of people drop off because they're like, it's a bit expensive. And although they may not yet know the value of the program, and they may think that, okay, like maybe they haven't consumed enough of my content to realize that this is going to be valuable for them, and they just instantly think this is going to be a Justin Welsh course. It's $99, $9.99. That's like too much. Because I have this language in here, I am repelling a certain percentage of customers from me. Like, I am doing that. The only reason I'm doing that is because we have such a high amount of flow. That's the only reason. So when you're thinking about your landing page and how to construct it and how to do it, I'll show you why, right? Because if we go here, since this was done in October 15, I think, last year, we've had 2,147 people go to fill out this form. I'm not going to say actually met with us. I'm going to say go to fill out this form, right? We've got completed and we've got partials as well. So we've got 2,147 that actually completed the form, right? As we kind of go through, you can see everyone each day who's completed the form, the inbound leads that have come in, right? At the same time. Now, some of them have faked it, some have funnel hacked us, but let's just round it down to 1,800, whatever it is. It's a lot of people. Because I have that amount of flow coming in, then I want to put barriers up for our sales team, because the harder you qualify beforehand, you may repel potential clients. It means generally the higher percentage of deals. So if you got low flow, less qualifying, equals generally the more you qualify beforehand, the higher percentage likelihood you can have of closing the deal and meet with better people. So it depends on the resources and restrictions that you do have, right? So if we think about an extreme case, right? When would Alex Hormozy meet with someone? The qualifying criteria for you to meet with him is going to have to be insane, right? One-on-one meeting for say 4 hours. It would be an insane qualifying criteria. He's an extreme extent, right? He'd want to know if it's benefit for him. But if you're just starting out with business and you're just a ghost, if you're becoming a ghostwriter on LinkedIn, you don't have any clients, right? You probably want to take every single meeting in the beginning because you don't have a lot of flow coming to you. So what it means is that if you have low flow, you generally want to do less qualifying because you want more meetings. I'm probably going to get a handwriting course, not going to lie, so I can help this. Because you generally want more meetings. That's what you want. So don't add a whole bunch of flow and friction. And I'll talk to you about kind of funnels in a second as well, because you can see how this is interlapping between you may have been experienced in sales, right? But you may not have known that low flow funnels this restriction, right? And I've seen this with a lot of salespeople. This is where the 3 C's that I call it all comes in together. It's it all matters. That's the point. Oh, lost my camera. We're back. So we're not back. Sorry, having issues with my camera, keeps turning itself off. New setup. We'll work it out someday. So that's why the 3 C's matter so much, because if you don't understand, if you're not good at copywriting, if you're not good at funnels, and if you're not good at sales and persuasion, then you're going to have a problem mixing all these together. That's why you need to know the baseline fundamentals of each. And if you have low flow, you want to do less qualifying because you want more meetings, right? That's number 1. But if you have high flow, high flow, you want to do more qualifying, because you want less meetings, because you want better quality meetings, because the meetings that you will have will be better qualified with a higher closing percentage. And so it also just depends on the actual goals that you want at the same time. And that's just a general principle of inbound leads and what actually happens. So as you're thinking through, if they come inbound, right? And depending on the avatar that they are, when they come inbound, act as fast as possible, qualify more or less depending on the amount of meetings you need, ask them questions before, ask them the things that you want to do, and then pivot them to the platform that they want to go. Pivot to platform, or I would say channel, they want to go to. What I mean by that is a CEO in Australia from Sydney who would call me would want a phone call. That's what they would want. But a lot of other people would want WhatsApp. Super easy. But what's the channel that you're going to move them to? Is it going to be, phone call? Phone call. Like a lot of younger people will just want to select a time on Calendly, right? Because they want to have the option. Older people, if you send them a Calendly link, they'll be like, you dickhead, propose some times. What are you doing? It depends on the person. And you can do a Calendly or a calendar link, calendar to Zoom, right? And this is another hot tip. Don't use, if you're a small business, don't use Google Meet, don't use Teams, use Zoom and get a paid Zoom. People will think of you differently when you use paid Zoom. They'll be like, whoa, you guys are premium. It's $20 a month. It's like a 10 times better experience. I did work at Zoom, I know, but like perception is reality and your brand. And when you have a paid Zoom, don't skimp out and give your employees a 40-minute Zoom. Like it is the tackiest thing ever. When I got on a meeting with someone, and I don't do many meetings, when the team or, sorry, camera again. When the team that you meet with, when you meet with like a manager or a business owner from another company and they have like that limit on Zoom, it's like laughable. It's so bad for your brand. Also with your quality setup, like I got on a call with a guy the other day and it was like down here and I was like looking at him, it was like the crappiest sound. It's like people don't invest in their like video quality, especially for Zoom meetings and the sound quality. What the experience that you're creating for the other individual though is like as if instead of us, that TV over there, instead of people watching a flat screen 50-inch TV, right? They're on like a 1990s piece of shit, like tiny TV. That's the experience that you're creating for other people. And that's why like Teams and Google Meet, they all suck compared to Zoom because like they're creating that shitty ass experience for other people. And because it's not quantifiable in the numbers and like people can't quantify experience, like they can't justify it, but like just get yourself a paid Zoom account to create the experience. This is an off topic thing, but this one like grinds my gears so much. People just use this, it's just like, do you not understand that like by you having good quality picture and audio and video, it makes the prospect want to stay on the call with you? Like when the amount of comments I've had with this new video setup, like, and I wanted to get it for so long, like, and I wish I got it like ages ago, is like people want to be on the call with you because it's like HD, it's like good quality. Yeah, but you can see I've got pretty strong opinions there. But yeah, Zoom, put them to the calendar, get them on a phone call, WhatsApp, DM chat, or they may just want your program deets and to buy. But whatever you do, cater towards what the other person would want at the same time. How would they like to do it? What do they want to do? The other thing is like, if people want to buy, meet now. Like immediately. Like, hey, you free right now? A lot of people automatically, what they do is they go and they say, let's meet next week. What? Their emotions are dead then. They don't care. Like you want to catch people as fast as possible. That's why the calendar link setup that you have, that's why I have our calendar link set up in a certain way. Let's say if you go to book a chat here, right? Let's say we click the buttons, put in the dates. Right, we go here. And again, I'm not an expert at funnels. I think I'm a 3 out of 5. To be honest, I've seen way better funnels. That's why when people book a time with me, there's tons of times available, me or us or whatever. There's tons of times available here, but they can only book up to 3 days in advance. We don't count the weekends, right? 3 days in advance, because the more time you give people to book, and the longer you give them, the higher percentage no-shows you're going to have and actual drop-offs at the same time. Because you want to catch people while the emotions are hot. And usually when they go through a video, a funnel or something like that, their emotions are hot at the same time. So the way that you want to deal with inbound meetings is act as fast as possible, right? Start qualifying them, qualify them based off the amount of meetings that you're getting or not getting, because the more restriction that you add into that as well. Use BANT, but just look up BANT. Don't tell me to use that. Just ask the questions that you want to ask them before you want to meet them. What do you actually want to know? And a lot of people in their funnels, they put these qualification questions like I have in there, so when they meet with them, they know, right? And then if you have less flow, less qualifying. If you have high flow, more qualifying, right? As a principle, it's not all the time the same, but as a principle. And then what you want to do is you want to pivot to the channel that they want to go to based off the person. And a lot of the time, just meet now. People will just buy immediately, or just don't allow them not to buy. And that's, we spent a lot of time on this one, but that's tier 1. That's how you deal with inbound as fast as possible. Very, very different. I'll see if I can pull up some chats of mine that I've done. Let's hope I treated them well at the same time. Condo, let me pull it up. Cool. So we'll go Loom screen. Let's see if it loads. We've been trying out this new LinkedIn inbox. My suggestion to you is I can't suggest you to use it yet, just because I haven't used it that much. Cool. So let's go through the inbox. Let's look at, say, some tagged inbound as an example. Meeting proposed, right? This guy here. Okay, sweet. So this is what happened. So came in 4 days ago. Hey, it's a pleasure to be connected. Here's the lead magnet. Having a look for your profiles, LinkedIn, your primary channel. Yep, thanks so much. We mainly use LinkedIn to get leads, early stage founders. I see it makes sense. Best place to be. What are you looking to achieve in the next 3 months? We want to get paying clients, yada, yada, yada. Just watching your website. Guys, paying clients, is LinkedIn your primary channel? Yes, perfect, I think, blah, blah, blah. You can pause this and look at it. Brilliant platform. How much does LinkedIn dedicate each week? 20 hours, wazing. Amount, you got the capacity. Tell me, would you rather go back and forth, or how about we catch up tomorrow? Does that work for you? Super fast, let's do it. Really, really quick, come back to him as well. I don't think that was technically inbound. Let's have another look at an inbound here. Let's look at Imran for an example. So he's come in, he's saying leads because he wants, this was off the back of, let me find this post here. Let me show you the post, right, that I did. Let me go, I'll show you which one brought him in. As an example, right? This one here. DM me leads and let's chat. So he's come in, leads, 5 days ago. That was 5 days ago, right? That was 2 days ago. No, we did another one that was leads. When was it? This one here. Yeah, leads here. This is an inbound 5 days ago. Boom, leads. Hey, I'm so sorry for the delay. I fucked that one up. I didn't get to him quickly. Totally my bad. That's what happens when you got too much flow. You can't do it. But yeah, not going to make excuses. Happy to potentially have a chat. Mind if I ask a couple of quick questions? Yeah, I'm going to send, and please go ahead and answer them all. Appreciate your understanding. What inspired you to create content on LinkedIn? Because we're qualifying. That's my team. Mostly random schemes they post, 6 weekly posts, other platforms. So what I'm looking for is like investment into the platform here. And he's like, hey, legend, appreciate being honest. Couldn't agree more, yada, yada, yada. This is called lubing the chat. So, and I'm going to do a deep dive chat video that's going to be like 2 hours on like the psychology of sell by chat. We can't go that deep into it. There's not enough time. We're already an hour and something into this. Appreciate being honest, yada, yada, yada. What are you looking to achieve in the next 3 months? Another quick hack, purposely put in spelling mistakes because then the other person won't think you're an AI. Cool, segregated, I'm looking to do this. He's pretty much qualified. Good to have clear goals. You remind me of this guy looping in a case study. How much time do you dedicating? Cool, blah, blah, blah. Cool, let's work this time tomorrow. Now, what a lot of people fuck up in these situations is they say, hey, right? Is they say, book a time on my calendar. No, propose times. Propose times for people, make it easy for them. So this one's going to be meeting booked or meeting proposed. So hopefully you can see there the actual psychology of like the back and forth of how we treat an inbound meeting versus a more outbound longer form meeting as well. And sweet. Let's get into the next one. Wow, this video has gone, I've gone deep. We're an hour and barely covered anything. I need to do like an 8-hour video of these to actually cover everything and all the tactics. But this is super fun. I'm heaps caffeinated, so let's keep going. Double shot latte, the best. Cool. So we've got conversations, tier 2. So we covered tier 1. There goes my camera again. We're back. So yeah, we're like an hour and 8 minutes in and I fucking totally scratched the surface. This hopefully helps illustrate my point that what matters the most are the skills. The skills. Because if you were to try to implement this without the skills and without talking about it, if you didn't know the skills, man, this would take you a long time to actually get good at it. And what a lot of people do is that because they never learn the skills, they keep trying to copy paste templates. They spend years on LinkedIn and they never literally get better because they don't spend the time getting better at the skills. So now you got tier 2, intent-based. What is intent-based? Intent-based, go down here, intent-based, simply equals someone that's shown intent. I know, rocket science. That's shown, someone that's shown intent. Now, what do I mean by someone that's shown intent? They may have either viewed your profile. They may have sent connection. They may have then, DM'd you. They may have opted in lead magnet. That's probably the biggest one. Lead magnet. Right, and there's other ones past this point, but I just won't get into them as well at the same time, right? But intent-based are when they've shown a signal that they need help with the thing that you might be able to help them with. And I'll tell you how you want to do this with content, and the really easiest way to think about content. So let's walk through. I'll show you on LinkedIn how it looks and kind of like why the content, actually, before I get into that, let's talk about why the content matters. So, or the content you create matters, and the easiest way to actually think about and create content. So when I create content, what I have is what's called my key messages, or the 3 messages that I want to talk about in my content, right? To get to the main outcome, which is in the middle. All of my content, no matter what I do, it always includes either copywriting, sales, or funnels. Either of these. Sorry, my dog wants me. Say hello, Teddy. Such a weapon. He just came up to me and he's like, bro, what the fuck, hug me. I'm going to put him on his bed. He's going to chill. We went for a walk before. He's loving it. Having a good life now. Okay, so yeah, 1, 2, 3. So my content only talks about the things which are called my key messages, or the things that I want people to like know about the product or service, because the key messages all lead into the thing that I sell, which is the thing in the middle here. How to become a 7-figure creator, right? So the easiest way to create content is like make it all lead towards only talk about the things which are the messages that you want people out there. And we do this in the program by teaching you how to build what's called a messaging house and to create your unique value proposition, which I'm not going to dig deep into that. But like the reason why this tactic and strategy works for me with the intent-based stuff is because I know because my profile talks only about what I do and the content I create only talks about one of those 3 key messages, the people that connect with me, the people that follow me, that like my stuff, comment on my stuff, opt in for lead magnets, they're all interested in my content, which is to do with the problem that I solve. And if your content isn't talking about like the problems that you solve, like sure, you can post like story-based content, right? Like I can show you some story-based content that I post, but like even this post here, right? Where I talk about, my friend making this much money per year, right? It all leads back to me wanting to work with them. So even though there's stories associated with this stuff, it's always talking about the key messages. Because if you talk about irrelevant random things, like if I just said these are the, top 20 AI tools to use in business. Sure, it's like somewhat around what I do, but I don't know if the people that connect with me, because I've got like a whole bunch of people that have connected with me that I got to accept, right? I filter them out first though, is that like, if I don't create content that's in line with this, they may connect with me for some other reason. And so if you just create content around the thing that you do, then everyone that follows you is interested in the thing that you do. And what these intent-based leads are, as we kind of go back through it as well, wow, we're getting colorful, is that they're going to fit somewhere within this range of percentage of people that may be ready to buy. And they may be 3%, they may be the other 97%. I'm not going to get into the exact stats, doesn't matter. Because no one's going to remember it anyway, right? So as we go through, these intent-based are people that have shown some level of interest in the thing that you do, right? And so when you're creating content and when you're constructing your profile, you want it to build it in a way that it only talks about the thing that you do and the problems that you help people solve and the big main outcome or the unique value proposition that you have that helps them solve, right? And when you do this, it all interconnects, and then that's what causes how I can make, $34, $35 per follower per year, whatever it is, compared to a lot of other creators which might make $1 per follower per year as well at the same time. And this isn't like a flex thing as well. This is you can make so much more money if you just do this. And I really get upset when I talk to people who are like, I've been following all these people for months, been trying to do this and make no money. And I'm like, it's obvious to me. That's why it's so hard. So all this intent-based stuff, there's a level of intent. But with intent-based, right? Intent-based, you want to take it slow. you don't want to go hard and fast and like pitch people, right? You can quickly ask qualifying questions and all that kind of stuff. But what you want with people that say just start following you or that they fall into your world, right? Is they come, and I will use the word come into your world. Into your world. They may not be educated enough in the buyer's journey to even know that your product is something for them as well. And so what happens over time is why you want to take your time with these people and not rush them is because I use this a lot of the time in our program, right? I call this the spectrum of trust. On the right is someone who's a trusted advisor, and on the left is a stranger. So think about your partner, your family, whatever, trusted advisor. Teddy next to me, trust me a lot, right? On the left, you've got a stranger. And there's a spectrum of the two. It's like how much someone trusts someone. And to get someone from stranger to trusted advisor, you can either spend time with them or give them perceived value, right, over time. And when people fall into your world here, right, they start as a stranger. But the way that selling works, right, usually, if you're selling higher ticket stuff, a little bit different between courses and stuff like that, low price, but if you're selling stuff on LinkedIn, you have to sell high ticket, at least over $1,000. Otherwise, most of the time it's a waste of time. No one should be selling $99 courses on LinkedIn, especially if you're starting out. Fuck me. That's like the worst thing to do. Just because one guy's doing it with 1 million followers doesn't mean everyone should do it. But like what happens is usually the more someone trusts you, the higher percentage chance they will have of buying when they get to the point. If they're your ideal potential client, that's what actually matters. Because you could be building trust with someone, but like they're not even your ideal client. So it's irrelevant. You're spending all this time building trust. It just doesn't matter. But when people come into your world and they opt in for your lead magnet, the easiest way to build this trust is to get them to spend time on content. The more time they spend on your content before they actually meet with you, the higher percentage chance that they're going to have of buying with you, right? And I weave this all throughout our sales process, which I can talk through maybe in another video. It depends if we get to it now. We're an hour and 17 minutes. I doubt it. We'll do it in another video. Time on content. And so when people first come into your world, if they come into your world here, right, and they ingest your lead magnet, right? So let's say you put a lead magnet out or they read a piece of your content, they're here. If you pitch here, there's a lower percentage chance they're going to want to meet with you. And when you pitch people really early, like hard pitch, and everyone knows those hard pitches you get, boom, sales wall goes up. When this sales wall is built, if you've heard of the term heuristics, it's the automated actions that humans do or that you do when you see or do something, right? Like for me, like for example, like a heuristic could be like, I delete the Uber Eats app off my phone because like if I'm doing late night calls and the Uber thing pings me, I'm like, I want to order a burger and ice cream, or I want to order a pizza, right? It's like a heuristic. It's like this automatic thing that just happens, right? But if you pitch really early, what happens is that person discounts you in their brain as a salesperson. They don't see you as someone delivering value. That's why pitching, usually the longer you delay before making the ask, if going outbound, not inbound, it's very, very different. The longer you delay the ask, usually the higher percentage chance you're going to have of closing the deal. So with this time on content, what you want to do with these people is like, don't ask for the sale here, right? What you do is you give them a lead magnet. Then they might ask for another lead magnet. Let me get the video back. Cool. And then you might then, send them a case study. And then you might then ask a question. And then by that time, they're so primed and they've spent so much time on your content, you might ask here, should we go on a meeting? And the chance of them getting on the meeting is going to be quite high. Now, another thing to understand throughout this process, right, is that as I'm asked the question and I'm trying to get them on the meeting, I'm not trying to sell them my program. I'm always just trying to sell the next step. So a big mistake I see people make, and I want to mention this, is that all throughout the process, they pitch right in the beginning to sell their program. If you're going to like direct pitch, maybe direct pitch for them to look at your lead magnet, or direct pitch for them to get on a special, I don't know, like special like audit meeting that you do something for them, right? Always sell the next step. A big mistake people do is they try to sell the end solution. Always sell the next step. Then, and I mean by so granular that the next step that you sell to them, the next step you sell to them can literally just be getting them to respond to your message. That's the next step. So as you go through, the way you treat these, then they might fall into the 3% here. And the other thing here is like this timeline can look like, it can probably even go from 3 days, go 3 months. It can even go longer than that, like up to a year. Because when you're messaging people and you deliver value, what it does is it increases your brand and it increases the social equity or the value that you have to that person, because you've given them value. You haven't asked, you haven't taken, you've delivered them value. And that's why I want to drive this point home. That's why I don't like when a lot of big creators who haven't spent time in sales and who drove all their business from copywriting, I don't like when they talk a lot about sales unless they've started really getting into it, because the way that they sell is not the way a smaller creator can sell, because they built up so much social credit and brand equity and personal brand. It's like people that follow them, it's like they're a mini celebrity to them. And so the problem with that is that they give you advice on how to sell, but they're giving you advice on how to sell when they have 100 or 200,000 followers. Their sales process is going to be way shorter, because when people start talking to them, they already trust them heaps. But for you, you're down here, right? Well, most people are down there. And I've done both. Yeah, I've done the cold calling thing. I've done the warm thing, the inbound thing. So I understand the point where you're at, because I've been at that point, right? But that's why I don't like them taking essentially the advice, which messes so many people around, because a lot of bigger creators who are copywriters got to that point because they didn't want to sell. So they tried to get so good at copywriting, so I never have to sell. And because of that, they never learned the sales skill, which is a big problem, because then people feel like the way that they've talked to, they speak to people and they're like, you've got to create a certain amount of content to get leads. You can get leads straight away because you can get good at DMs, right? Like, I'm just showing you the full package here, but I don't like the rhetoric and stuff that's out there, especially on LinkedIn. It's like, you've got to have this many followers to deserve to make money. Like, one of the clients in our program just posted how he got his first clients with 200 followers. Followers are literally irrelevant if you have the right messaging. And most people, small business owners that you're selling to especially, they don't even look at your banner or your feature section. They don't even know what it is. They just see the message come in and they get on the call and they judge you based off that. And so it's kind of just stupid, right? But so that's why, but when people come into your world, you want to give them time. You don't want to rush them, because they may not even be educated enough to even know what you do and know that they need it. So you want to let them fall down to become into the 3% that's ready to buy. Because if you pitch hard early, and I'm not saying that pitching hard early never works, it does work, but I would rather have 2,000 people in my inbox that consider me an expert, that when they're ready, they can buy from me. And that's how we close so many deals, and how we're doing 130 grand or whatever this month, right? Organic content and DMs, because I'm thinking on a longer time horizon. I'm thinking we have 5,000 active DM chats in my inbox right now. I'm thinking long-term time horizon, because a lot of these people are going to fall into that person. But if we pitch too early, you break the trust. So it creates brand and then what's called social equity. So that's tier 2. And I might go run through and I'll show you a couple of examples now, because this video has gone long and I wanted to get to all the stuff. So it's going to be hard to get to all the stuff. So let's say if I go to meetings booked today. Where's meetings booked? Paid. Offer a proposed meeting booked. Right. Let's say if we go here, I'll look at Kendra as an example. Let me go back. That's an okay one. Cool. We go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. So 4 months ago. 4 months. How are you currently finding LinkedIn? Great. Ask some questions. Give some value. Give a lead magnet. Give another lead magnet, another lead magnet, another lead magnet, another lead magnet, going back and forth. Get a selfie. This is a secret in the DMs. Send selfies to yourself. Trust me, do it later on. You build trust. I'm ready to answer questions. Cool. Boom, 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 boom. Book call. Like, no pressure was done. So when we chat to Stefan, like, there's going to be like, there's no sales wall up because we've spent months with Stefan and these lead magnets that he's consumed, right? Like, if I open up these lead magnets, here's the DM process that I used to do this, right? There's a squeeze page, which I'll show you how to do in a second, right? But like, let's say I put in the deets here. Now I'll talk to you about time on content in a second as well. So like, how many people have watched this? Oh, I've got the analytics in my other browser. Let me pull it up for you. Give me one sec. Here we are. Right. I've got too many Chrome browsers. Yeah, 663 people watched this video, right? If I look at views, 40% completion rate. That's fucking crazy. Call to action conversion, 4%. That's pretty fucking cool. Interested in our program. I might actually use that CTA, which is pretty cool. But like, this is time on content. Because before, that guy, what his name was, I can't remember and I feel bad for not. He may have been here, but we've taken him here. Over time through education and through content. And you let the content do the work. You don't convince people in the sales meetings. It's not a persuasion cringy sales thing, and I'll walk through our sales process at one point and how we do it. It's not a cringy sales thing. It's not. They convince themselves in your content because every single piece of content I ever make is around helping people become a 7-figure creator and make money on LinkedIn through the three key messages that I have, and that's it. And so people sell themselves into it. They've consumed so much content when they're getting into it, and so that's tier 2. Time on content matters a lot. Wow, we've got a lot of stuff here. That's tier 2. And guys, just so you know, like, this is completely unscripted. I thought about just doing this top of my head while I'm caffeinated before I'm interviewing someone at 11 o'clock. So that's in an hour and 1 minute. I've got to do it. So I'm just going to like keep recording this and add as much value as I possibly can. Cause like ultimately my ulterior motive for doing this, right? I love doing it. Super easy. My ulterior motive is a certain percentage of people. I want them to watch this and be like, fuck this, I don't want to watch these ad videos. I just want to talk to the guy and just get him to show how to do it, right? Obviously, I want to do that. All marketers and salespeople make these videos because that's what they ultimately want to happen. At the same time, if you're not in that position and you're through the educating phase or whatever, consume this stuff, use it for free. Like, go ahead and do it because I just want people making money because I know if I give this stuff away for free to you, right? And you go out there and you make money on LinkedIn, right? You will come back and buy my thing because you'll be like, dude, he showed me this stuff. Imagine if I worked with Matt and I could ask him direct questions. Probably gonna make a fuck ton more money. That's why the way we've got our program constructed, I think this is pretty cool to go through, is we've now got, by the time you watch this or whatever, we've got 6-figure creators and people can only get into 6-figure creators and then they graduate into 7-figure creators, which is naturally our higher price thing, right? But if I made people money in 6-figure creators, why would they not go to the higher price thing where I can make them more money? It's called, a guy, Dan Kennedy, famous marketer, he calls it selling money at a discount, right? One of the easiest ways to do it. If I say to you, give me $2,000 and I'll give you 10, you can do it every day of the week. And then if I say to you in the next one, give me $30,000 and I'll give you $500,000, of course you're going to do it, right? Super easy. So yeah, that's why I'm making these videos. And so I've got that much longer left, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And let me, like, if you guys let me know in the comments as well, like what else you want to see, I'll make it. I'll do it. I don't care. I won't hold back. So if we go to tier 3, then we got tier 3 cold, right? Now there's a few ways to do cold, right? And let's talk about the fundamentals of tier 3 first and cold messages and stuff, because I built the last company off cold calling. I understand cold, because if you're like, Matt, you've got so much social credit and authority, like you don't have to do it. It's like, fuck off. I built the last company off cold calling, right? Like I understand cold. You want to see our old website? This is the website. This is the website, and Michael still hasn't changed it. Literally still hasn't changed it. Or he may have, still there. Or he's changed it. Holy shit. He's slightly changed it, right? Which is a lot better. Still, it's not good, right? This is the website that I sold off. It's still not good, dude. Telecare, telecompare, right? It's okay, right? Inquire. But like, this is the website and the brand that I was trying to sell off. come on, man. Like it was even way worse before at the same time. So like, I understand that. I understand how the cold game works. So don't give me the excuse of like, I don't have a big following. I can't do it too. I started off with 2,000 followers. You can do it. You just got to learn a skill. Cool. So let's get into some tier 3. My camera, this is pissing me off, but I'm going to keep pushing through to get this recording out because I love doing these long forms, and I promise you it's going to be fixed for the next one. So tier 3, cold. I can't even write. Tier 3, cold. Now the first thing you want to understand about LinkedIn, right, is with LinkedIn Premium or LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I'm not going to talk through the options because it's a waste of time because you can just Google it. What you want to do, especially if you're starting out, is you can send around about 150 connection requests per week. Now, there used to be hacks of things that you could do where you could like import certain things into LinkedIn, like certain emails and reach out and do 600 other automated stuff, right? My suggestion is just send the 150. I got a client who's got a really warmed up LinkedIn account. He does about 185 as well. There's also other ways that people teach you how to do it, where they send people emails and they say, hey, I want to get connected, and they get them to connect them to you, right? A lot of that stuff is just teaching around the fact of just like, they just want to do mass volume so they can get you some meetings, right? Because one of the ways that people sell LinkedIn lead generation is they're like, let's set up 20 cold email account boxes, let's scrape all of your leads, and let's just send fucking a gajillion emails and LinkedIn messages to these people, just hard pitching them to get a few people in the calendar. And while that works, if you're good at messaging, it can also trash the fuck out of your brand. Because if you send that many messages to that many people in your ICP, in your niche, and you fuck up the messaging and you don't understand it, you will trash your brand with them. I had a lady who coaches lawyers come back to my response after I DM'd her the other day, giving me this massive essay, and I recorded a podcast episode about it. She was just like pretty much distraught because she'd paid this company $25,000 to do it for her, and they sent all the messages and they fucked her brand. Like they completely trashed her brand because they just sent terrible messaging, pitching people completely wrong. And that's why I am such an advocate of learning the skill of sales, copywriting, and funnels. Because she lacked the skill. Because she lacked this skill, she wasn't able to just read the messages and identify that they're bad messaging and that her brand was going to get trashed. Say, me with the skill, if I just read the messages in 30 seconds, I would have said, throw these in the fucking bin because they're going to trash your reputation. Don't do that. Because a lot of these like lead gen companies, and I'm not saying they're all bad, right? They're fine. But a lot of these lead gen companies don't understand sales and persuasion. They just do mass stuff. They don't understand copywriting. They're just like, I'm going to send like a fucking gajillion emails, man, and I'm just going to book you meetings, right? They overcompensate with the lack of skill with the increase in volume and automation. And while AI and stuff is getting better at that over time, the problem is if you don't know what good looks like and you can't QA things because you don't have the skill, then you don't know if the messaging is good, even though Clay and these AI tools that you fucking imported them into and it like says, this is the best message ever. It's got a 99 out of 100 score. You still don't know. And because you do that, it doesn't work. So a lot of these people they're kind of just blissfully ignorant. And so what they do is they go out and do these done-for-you services where they mass email people, they trash your reputation, and it all goes fucking pear-shaped as well. So not the best way to do it. But that is one way that you can do it if you want to go down that route. I don't like that way because you have to be really skilled at messaging to be able to do it, and most people aren't, and they haven't invested the time. But with LinkedIn, you can send 150 connection requests a week. Now, you got two options with these connection requests. Two options. Option 1 and option 2. You can do no note. You can send a blind connection request. And for some clients of ours, that works better because the goal here is to get the highest percentage acceptance rate of the connection request. Some clients with their avatar, because if you remember back up here, the person that you're messaging, they're going to get catered towards different things differently. So for some clients of ours, if they send no note, they get a higher acceptance rate because a higher acceptance rate equals more conversations. Because if you do 150 connection requests and if 10% accept, right, it equals 15 conversations. If you do 150 connection requests and 20% accept, you get 30 conversations, right? So it's just math, right? Pure math. So you just want to check either note or note, personal note. And guys, I'm not talking about in-mails inside LinkedIn Sales Navigator. If you looked at it, I'm talking about regular connection requests through LinkedIn, right? And I'm not going to get into in-mails because... Cool. And then, so we'll walk through how to find these people and different methods and tactics, but it's all math, right? All math. Let's say you go, 150, go to, 30, accept, right? Well, actually, probably be better than that. 50 people accept. Of that, a certain percentage reply. Might be 20%. You get 10 replies, which are positive. Then you get 10 conversations. So 10 chats a week, right? And the thing is, this builds up over time. But then what a lot of people do, right, is where people fuck this up is that they only chat to the most recent people, which is crazy. Because if you do 10 weeks and 50 people accept, right? When people accept in your DMs, it means that you can message them multiple times. Because if you do 50 times 10 weeks equals 500 people. But a lot of people, what they do is they only talk to the most recent people in their chats, which is the 10. So they've only got like 10 conversations going each week. 10. 1 times 10, or whatever you want to call it, right? And that's the problem everyone makes. What you want to think is you want to think about these chats as a pipeline of opportunities, and I'll show you how. Let me pull up our CRM for you. So go ATO, and don't ask me about CRM. What CRM do you use? It's completely unique and specific to your situation. Don't ask me what CRM to use. I advise people to use Folk. I'm using another one called Condo. But let's say I look at our CRM. There's 1,600 leads to reach out to, 2,000 people I'm having chats with, 456 actually chatting and engaging live, this many people send calendar links to, this many meetings booked, this many of these booked, this many said I'm in, right? And so when I'm going through this is what's different to what I do for other people, because every single chat that I start, whether it's tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, it's a conversation that gets engaged and it's like an opportunity chat. Because as long as you build content around what you do and the key value propositions, and you attract people towards you, and your profile is all about you, and your DMs are all about you, it means that every single one of these chats is a potential client. And you can obviously qualify them out, remove them from the thing. But yeah, that's like a big difference that I see a lot of people do, because they don't think about the cumulative interest of these chats building up, because they're like, I can only send this many a week. It's like, yeah, but you can go back and chat to all the other people, because the reason why is as you're chatting to all these people, like some of them are just in different situations. The one might be here, one might be here, one might be here. Some may be ready to buy. What these companies that do on mass, especially when you haven't got a refined product or service or good product market fit, is they'll just be like, let's just send 50,000 emails, and some people reply. Of course they're going to reply, but you're going to smash your reputation and your brand along the way. So wouldn't you rather have like 5,000 warm conversations that you can just pull on and you generate unlimited leads? Of course you would. It just takes more time, which a lot of people aren't willing to do. So when it comes to cold outreach, you've got options. You had 150 connection requests a week. You can use no note, you can use a note, and then it's all about math, right? As you're going through, you might just test 100 note, 100 no note, different connection requests. I'm not going to get into the details of like what to write, because I've got so much content and lead magnets and videos I've got a 23-page document on like the actual things to write. I actually want to make a pivot. I'm just going to talk about the high level stuff here, because this is the stuff that matters and what you want to get good at. Cool. What's the next thing I was going to do? Sales nav and the way to get leads. There's a couple of ways to get leads, right? Or find leads. One is sales nav. Now, I'm not going to go deep dive into sales nav. You can find it on YouTube. I'll just tell you the things that matter, right? And I don't really use sales nav. I don't think it's the best. It's just not. It's just a shitty thing. Now, when you're finding, I've got to say this before I say it, otherwise it won't matter. What matters in your messaging the most? And I'll tell you a story about this. What matters in your messaging and your reach outs, right, is there's two things that increase the percentage chance that someone's going to reply. How personalized it is, and how relevant it is. If you can make it extremely personalized and extremely relevant, so much so, you'll get a 100% response rate. For example, if I was a parent and I had some other kid come to stay at my house and that kid fell over and that kid smashed their arm, and it's another parent's kid, I'm going to call them, fucking text them, text everyone that you know, be like, your kid is sick, get to the hospital, right? I'm going to do the most personalization, the most relevance to get in touch with them. So it depends how keen you are to get in touch with people. And I'm not going to get into as well, finding people's emails and emailing them as well as LinkedIn, as well as cold calling at the same time, because that's another whole other topic, which I need to make a whole other video on. Take a long time. But when it comes to messaging, personalization and relevance, being personalized and relevant, and there's an inflection curve usually when you can make it so personalized and so relevant that it's like they'll just like have such a high response rate. Now, when you're finding the leads, the way that you make the messaging personalized and relevant, the easiest way, like the fucking easiest way to do it, is there's usually everyone's like, people will say things like, I'm like, what's your target market? And they're like, small business owners in Australia. I'm like, fuck. If you went, the way you want to structure your messaging, right, is if I message someone or I wrote on my messaging, instead of I help small business owners in sales generate leads, if I said, I help single person, and I'm not saying you should change your profile this, but I'm just saying the analogy, right? I help single person legal firms in Sydney, in Australia, who are, relying overly on referrals to build up their brand and presence on LinkedIn, to drive those extra 3 leads a week, to take them from $200,000 a year to $500,000 a year, where they can have a small team. If I said that and I added that within the layer of my messaging when I reach out to people, so personalized and so relevant. And if I also say, hey, I saw you're also connected to this person I know, the chance of them responding is like nearly 100%. And a lot of people just get the messaging, they get their messaging so wrong because they just go too broad. When you make it like I competed in this thing called Hyrox, which is this like sports thing, Google it, right? Like a few weeks back. If I saw an ad that said, and this is the first time I did it, right? And I was a bit nervous, didn't know what to do. If I saw an ad, right? A month before I started, that said the 4-week training plan for Hyrox men in Sydney, Australia that are 33 years old. Get the training plan now. I would just be like, click. There would be no thoughts in my brain. So the messaging that you construct, you've just got to try and make it like a no-brainer to people so that we're going to get back to you because it's just so obvious. And that inflection point. So the messaging that you send, but the way that you get messaging that's so relevant to send is that in Sales Navigator, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you want to drill down your ICP to make it like hyper specific. And a lot of people make the mistake thinking, oh, I can only go after one niche. With the messaging that you send, you can do, and especially in the DMs, you can do tons of hyper specific messages. And I'll build one now for you for an example. You can do tons and you can switch it up. You can switch up your fucking niche. No one will even realize. So you don't have to decide on this one thing and do it. Just change all the time. It's fine until you find that one that works. But let's walk through now, right? I'll show you. So if I'm going through things that I want to see, right? I want to make sure that they post it on LinkedIn. Let's find like a very specific person I'll reach out to, right? Let's just find someone. I would go postcode, literally near where I live. Right, postcode within 8 kilometers of where I live, right? They post on LinkedIn. Then I would just go, for example, company headcount, they're self-employed, right? So they're consultants. And then I would go connections of, so they're either connected to me or second degree connections or third degree connections. I can even go a connection of another person and I can reach out about, hey, I know you know that this person. I could then go seniority level, right? And I might just go business owner. So the business owners that live near me that are somewhat active on LinkedIn, there's 600 something, and you want to try and make this as small as possible. So personal geography, I want their company headquarters to be in Sydney, right? For an example. And I want to get this thing down as small as I possibly can. Owner, president, self-employed. Might also go 1 to 10. Let's say, for example. That's too many. I'm going to go self-employed, right? Cool. So there I've got this list of people who live within my area, who I can reach out to, who are connected to people I know. And so when I send these people messages, I can probably put together a message that there's going to be 100% reply rate. Like, let's just look at Kelvin as an example, right? If I click this button, and this is where people get it wrong so much. It's like so easy to do this. Like you don't need to pay people. Like, it's just ridiculous that people charge. Like, Kelvin is a CTO of this company, right? Doesn't look like he's jet. The other thing about LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right, is that the data is crap. Like, it's crap. Like, if I look here, CTO, right, it's not good, right? Let's actually go back to small businesses. Let's go 1 to 10 employees, for an example, right? Let's Let's go here. We've got 1,000 people. Fuck, that's just still too many. Owner, managing director, 17 years. Why doesn't it pick single person? This is why it's super annoying. CEO, founding, Dreamoro, right? Let's go class, right? For example, view profile. Here. My God, is it gonna... This is why I hate sales now, for example. Klaus, the CEO, managing partner. My Lord, it's too big of a company. Let's look at... Sorry, I might pause this, guys, so I don't bore you. All right, let's just say Rebecca, for example. This is why I don't like using Sales Nav. It just takes a lot of time to get through the data, and there's better Sales Nav videos. Owner and principal, property acquisition, buyer's advocate, living experts, right? Then I can go here, and I can go view LinkedIn profile. Rebecca, Sydney, all right? Sydney, my tech network, principal and owner, self-employed, right? She's a buyer's agent. So when I write a message to Rebecca, there's so much shit here that I can personalize it and say something to her, right? And this is where you want to become good at the skill of copywriting and then reaching out, right? Is I would say something like this. And the way you do a connection request message, if you click connect, if I go send without a note, that's that initial piece, or if I can go with a note, right? Let's have a look here. She's from Sydney, property acquisition, off market. She's posting on LinkedIn. You know, where is she? Where's her location? And I can just look here. A little bit of research beforehand. Never killed anyone. Go here, property agent. I can go even here. Because I want to write a message that she's going to get back to. I can go contact us, right? She's in Bella Vista. Oh, Bella Vista. Okay, cool. And I could just literally say something like this, right? Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca. Awesome seeing another Sydney founder here. My feed is seriously filled up with all these US people. Lol. Saw your office is in Bella Vista. Hi. Where's Bella Vista again? Let me double check. Bella Vista. All right. We go maps. Not now. Go away. Bella Vista. I haven't been to Bella Vista. Castle Hill, right? Borkham Hill. So it's a bit far, actually. So your office is in Bella Vista. Can't really say something about Bella Vista because I haven't been there. I thought it was a different place. Saw your office is in Bella Vista. Nah, so that. I just say, hey, Ray, awesome. My feed's full of US peeps. And then I just say something like, awesome to see someone else posting content. What inspired you to get started? As I don't see many buyers. Is she a buyer's agent? Let me just double check. I rushed into this. Buyer's agent's on here. Boom, send. And hopefully she'll reply within this as well. But like, what you can do with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right, is the messaging that you send to whoever it is, and I'll open up another person, I'll send another message as well at the same time. Let's say I can go to this guy here, right? The messaging that you send, the key to all of it is so much personalization and so much relevance that it makes the person feel special. Like, I want Rebecca to feel special when she reads that message. Like, Matt's taken the time of day to actually reach out to him, right? Awesome. Like, I'll do another one here for you. And a lot of you guys are like, how'd you do that? It's like, I'm bringing it back to like the baseline skills. The only reason I'm able to write this stuff is because I learned copywriting, sales, and funnels. I know the things to write to her, which is going to trigger back to her. But because people don't do this, like I can off the cuff, on the fly, just do this, right? And when you build this skill, and I'm not even that good at copywriting. I've only been doing copywriting for like not even a year. Like I'm average, but when you have all these skills, it combines together to create this asset. So you make someone feel special. And so let's go to Martin for an example, right? Go to Martin, right? say I'm in Sydney, automating, whatever, right? He's connected to Stephen O'Sullivan, which I know. I was just away in Fiji. He's also in video, head of production and business development, full-time, whatever, right? So say I want to reach out to him. I literally just go, hey Martin, what's going on? Epic. Cringe US peeps. Feed lol. So at an event. Cure. To start. Cool. So I maxed it out, right? Let me explain to you this whole message and like why I wrote it. Hey man, what's going on? Casual. The way we speak in Australia. Epic to see someone else from Oz posting. People from Australia know what it's like. So many cringe US peeps in my feed. Everyone in Australia jokes that United States people are cringe, and everyone else in the whole world agrees it. US people are super cringe. They're like over the top. It's super funny, like hilarious. I like people from the US. I'm not saying that. It's just a joke that a lot of people have. And also the USA, when you work at a bigger company like Zoom, they assume that a lot of US companies call themselves like, we're the USA, and then there's the international market. It's like, fuck off. Like, it's like the only place that exists. And then they're like, also saw you connected to Stephen O'Sullivan. I purposely added the spelling mistake here, right? Purposely. I was just away with him in Fiji because I want him to know that it wasn't automated. And if you do it automated, I'm not going to talk about automations here, but if you do it automated, add spelling mistakes. Really good. I was just in Fiji at an event with him, which was awesome. That's going to spark curiosity if he knows Stephen. Curious to know, by the way, what inspired you to start creating content on LinkedIn? Done. Right? Sent that. I wonder if that Rebecca's got back to me. No, it hasn't. We'll see if later on. But like that message, if we go back to the principles, that's going to make Martin feel special. And then like the reason I've asked the cold messages that you send, and the reason why I've asked certain things, right? The actual questions, the first question that I ask him, or like start the conversation at the same time. And guys, there's so many other cold messaging structures that do work for people. You've got to think about your avatar. That's what truly matters. Let me get rid of all this, right? So with the messages and the questions that I'm asking, the reason why question 1 inspired, what inspired you to start creating content on LinkedIn, is I want him to come back and be like, I saw this other person creating content and they were getting awareness to my business, or I want to generate leads. That's the reason why they want to get some social clout, they want some awareness, whatever it is, right? That's why they start posting on LinkedIn. They want to drive leads to their business. So you ask them a question that doesn't come across salesy, which is just curious. I'm curious about this. And then he's going to come back. If he accepts a percentage acceptance, he's going to come back and say to me, oh, I was watching this person. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to write a couple of things. I'm going to go like observation on that. I might send him a case study, maybe. And then I'll finish off with like a question. Right? Now the key as well in every single messaging exchange, which I haven't even gotten into, the key to every messaging exchange that you ever have with somebody else is that a lot of people, what they do is that they'll send a DM with an ask, a question. Then they'll send another DM with an ask. And then they'll send another DM with an ask being a question. People then feel like they're being interrogated. So what you want to do when you're DMing, think of it as like a 3-pronged thing. You want to lube the chat by, let's say someone is talking to someone, you're like, yeah, I get that. I understand that. I've heard that before. That's called lubing the chat, right? Making it easy. You then want to add value, give them something of value to that person, and then you want to ask a question. And you want the question that you always ask, and usually don't ask more than one question in a chat as well, because it becomes too hard. You want to make it as easy as possible for the person to do the next step, if you remember that from before, is that inspired observation, case study, question. You kind of want them to fall down like the question waterfall. where down the bottom here, or the question staircase, let's call it, where down the bottom here is when you ask to meet or you ask to do the thing. But the first question that you asked them allowed you to peel back the onion. A lot of people talk about this in sales, about peeling back the onion, right? I want to ask questions in a way that peel back the onion for this guy. Why do you start posting on LinkedIn? Oh, that makes a lot of sense. How's it been going for you? How many leads are you generating per week? Oh, that really sucks. How many leads do you actually want per week? Oh, dang, what would it mean, I guess, if you could get that many leads per week? Oh, wow, you actually sound like my other client, so-and-so, Jeremy, who works in video production, who I could help him get this, I helped him close multiple 5-figure deals in 6 weeks. Here's the case study. I suggest you have a look. Also, you potentially looking for some help with some LinkedIn at all. That's like the question waterfall, where you ask to, I probably wouldn't say meet, I'd probably actually say help now that I think about it. It's probably a better way to do it. Help question mark here, right? Where I can actually help. And that question waterfall that you go down is like super duper important. But what a lot of people do is they just like make an ask, question. It's like when, you're speaking to a kid and like the kid just keeps asking you questions and you're like, oh my God, like I feel drained, right? It's the same thing. You want to create it because by you lubing the chat, giving value and then asking a question is you use reciprocity. And reciprocity is one of Dr. Robert Cialdini's, don't know how to pronounce it. I've tried to hear it so many times. One of his seven principles of persuasion or influence. He wrote a book called Influence. It had 6 in his second book, Persuasion. He had another one, which is 7, right? But reciprocity is a way to persuade people, right? And I won't even get into all the rules now. But like lubing the chat, giving value, asking a question at the end, it allows you to massage the chat so it incentivizes them to respond each time. So as you're going through this, like you want to make people feel special and relevant. And this is the same. This rule applies like here. Sorry, not that rule. This rule. This rule here. This applies to all of your regular conversations. If you add value, if you do this to people, it's going to incentivize. You want to incentivize the person to actually respond to you as well at the same time. And I'm going to wrap this conversations one up because we're nearly at 2 hours of conversations and I haven't even gotten into content or conversion optimization. I'm going to have to go to deep ones and I haven't even gone into as deep of this as I can go, which means I'm really excited because I get to make heaps more content, which would be sick. But as you go through with the cold DMs, you get about 150 connection requests a week. The goal is to like build up as many chats as you want, give tons of value to these people, then eventually get them into the 3% that's ready to buy to make the ask, get them on the call. All right, I might put the link to, I'll put the link to all of this below as well so you can get action. So that's conversations. And I know the other one was LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Let me just quickly show you that again, right? I'm not going to show you the how to do it, right? There's so many videos of people they show you like how the stats. I want to show you the true skill stuff that actually matters, not this fucking fluff that people just like get copywriters to like write their videos and they just read the teleprompter here and they just give you all this crap BS to just make you feel good and just eat candies. It's fucking dumb. It drives me insane. And so the principle behind this is when you're cold outreaching, drill down into the ICP that you want to reach out to in the messaging, right? And you can do multiple. So for me, I can do Sydney business owners or this big. I can go people that own property companies. I could go legal firms, fucking whatever. It doesn't matter, right? But when I reach out and I do this messaging, I can be so specific as I message as well. So let's say you've got 3 different avatars or you've got 3 case studies or whatever, and you're like, I don't know what to choose. Just reach out to the 3 different ones and give people the case studies. For example, this guy here, I'm going to give Martin the case study. I'll show you. When he responds, I'll give him the case study of Jeremy, who's also in Sydney, who is also a video production person, who closed this many deals, who I've collected this case studies. And guys, you're going to tell me, Matt, stop recording. Yeah, you're going to be like, Matt, I don't have any case studies yet. The way to solve it is reach out to people, work with them for free. Yeah, work with them for free and then get case studies and start selling. I started off with no case studies. The thing that you can rely on in the beginning is you just sell yourself. If people do you have any case studies? This is what you say. No, I don't have any case studies, but I worked in the industry for 5 years. And that's why the first few people that I work with, I'm going to do it for this discounted rate. I actually want to work at no cost because it's going to be some learning from me, but you're going to get my expert opinion and you're going to get my full effort because I don't have a whole roster of clients right now. And so I can actually help you like way more than anyone else will get from a bigger company. And sure, it may be a bit more a learning curve, but I'm going to spend more time because I want you to become my first ever best case study ever. And that's what I want to do. So I'm going to work my ass off to do it. So, and if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine as well. But I'm just going to work with a couple other people that I've got on my roster. Say this exact same thing. You'll get clients. Don't use that as an excuse, right? Prefer to read, and then I'm going to send them to this guy, right? So sales nav, I'm not going to show you the stats. You can Google it, YouTube it, whatever. Break it down to a small group of people. Reach out to a small group. Start with 240. Don't try to pull a list of fucking 20,000 people. Like, it's just so stupid as well. And I just realized I got 18 minutes left, and it's a 2-hour recording, which is so fucking fun. But like, let me go up here. Okay, so we've covered sales and conversations, but the only thing I've really covered, let's be real, is what's called sell by chat and the DMs. And we haven't even gone into the weeds of the DMs, right? Man, this is so colorful now, which is cool. But this is one thing that's perpetual. Hopefully, as I've gone through this, you've noticed that all throughout the way that copywriting, I've used sales, and I've used funnels as a skill. This is like the core takeaway that I want you to take away, other than the fact that I want you... Yeah, the fact that I want you to know that it's the skills that actually matter. And also the fact that I want you to register and want to work with me as well. Every marketer wants this, they just don't tell you. They're just subliminally putting in their messages, right? I want you to work with me. I want to make more money. I want to live a crazy cool life because I want to buy back my time and I want to do cool shit. Like 2 weeks ago, I just went to Fiji for 6 days and I didn't even care how much it costs. That's what entrepreneurship is about. That's why it's fucking cool. That's why I work from home. I hang out with my dog all day. And I just do shit that I love right now. I fucking love entrepreneurship. Really hard, but well worth it. What I might do instead, because this video is 2 hours, is I'm just going to record a whole series of just these videos and just keep going into it. So this one was on just DMs specifically in sales and conversions. I'm going to put the link in the PDF below. You can get access to it as well. Then I'm going to create some more on copywriting funnels, and I'm just going to keep going and creating these videos and adding value. I'm sorry, I'm just going to call it like part 1 of the thing as well in the actual hook now that I actually think about it. But quick recap of everything, just in the conversations. To become a 7-figure creator, you need to get good at the skills of copywriting, sales, and funnels, right? You need to do it with 3 C's. We've got perpetual and project. So you got to make sure that you're doing sales and DMing all the time, conversations all the time, because it builds up your social equity. The funnels matters, but it's the projects thing that steps through over time. Now, when we talked about leads driven, the reason why it matters so much is because if you get so good at the skill, if you become 3 out of 10 at these skills, you'll make way more money than someone who's a 3 out of 5, someone who's a 5 out of 5 for copywriting and a 1-1. You're gonna make way more money. Worked with 500 people. I know how it works, right? Your dollar to follower ratio is the thing that actually matters if you're looking at how much realistically money you're making. And then we've got the 3 tiers of DMs. We've got inbound, where you want to act as fast as possible. We've got tier 2 and tier 3, where you want to take it slower. You can go for the straight pitch, but if you want to burn your patch, it's fine. Unless you're really good at messaging, you're an exception, right? Very, very hard. Because you don't want to burn your leads, because there's only 3% that are ready to buy right now who you want to go to. Now, when you're reaching out and having chats with people, make sure that you're chatting to your ideal potential client on the platform and the way they want to be chatted to. So that's why templates and scripts and all that shit doesn't fucking work. Cadences and times. There's baselines, but you have to work it out through getting good at the skill, because a 50-year-old CEO wants to be treated differently to a 25-year-old creator, and who you're selling to matters how you want to treat them as well at the same time. It's like, imagine if I went online and I wanted to get we got some mold in our carpet at the moment. Like, imagine if I went online and I was like, mold on the carpet. Book in a Zoom meeting for next week. Fuck off. I want someone to just come now to the mold. You got to treat people the way they want to treat it. Next, when an inbound lead, act as fast as possible. Start qualifying before chatting. BANT, use the qualification criteria. Remembering that if you have low flow, you're going to qualify less with low flow because you want more meetings. If you have high flow, you want to do more qualifying as well because you want less meetings, as a general principle. Cool. As a principle, don't take it as wrong. Then, 4, pivot to the channel they want to talk to you. Some people want to send a calendar link. Make sure you use Zoom. Stop using the other ones. You look cheap, especially if you don't do cheap Zoom license. Phone call, WhatsApp chat, deets to buy, or meet now, wherever they want to catch up. Or they want to keep talking in LinkedIn. That's totally fine. Match them where they want to go. Next up, intent-based, which was tier 2. someone that's shown intent. When you create content and your profile is constructed about the problems that you help people solve to get the outcome that you want them to get, that's when you want to reach out to people who view your profile, send connection requests, DM you, opt in for lead magnet. There's probably 10 other things that I missed. Whatever. They've shown some level of interest in your shit. And so that you want to take time because you don't know if they're in the 3% that are ready to buy. You can ask them certain questions during the way to qualify if they are going to be ready to buy or if they're not. But the better way is to nurture them, build the trust through time on content, right? So then you're going to come into your world. So the way to build this trust with someone is spending time with them, giving them perceived value. You can just happen over 3 days or 3 months, whatever it is, right? Most people fuck up the DMs because they think of it in like a couple of days span. You want to build your social equity and your social pipeline, which increases your brand, which makes it easier for you to sell. And it acts as like cumulative interest, like buying property and making fuck tons of money. Time on content is the big metric you want to track. Let the content do the work. Don't let people do the convincing in the chat. And you build this content over time. YouTube, podcasts, fucking case studies, whatever it is. You're going to start with nothing. Start making something. Build it up over time. I had nothing a year and a half ago. Now I got some stuff now. I still think our stuff sucks. We can go way better. Cold. You can send 150 connection requests a week. You can also send more. You can bomb people with a lot of emails, but you can fuck your brand. Like that lady I chatted to who's paid 25 grand, spent 6 months, ruined her whole patch in ICP if you get an agency to do it. There's a small amount of agencies that are actually going to be good at doing it. And from the agencies, but it's very hard to tell if an agency is good because if you don't know what good looks like and if you don't have the skill of copywriting and sales and persuasion, you're going to fuck yourself up. And that can ruin your brand. So that's why I highly suggest you learning the skill, as I've said 100 times, and you can send 150 connection requests a week. You got to have the paid license. I'm not going to get into statistics why. You can send a note or a no note to start the conversation. When you have a conversation with someone, you can send them as many DMs as you want as long as you connect it, which is fine. Also, you can have 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. Don't worry about your connections. You can remove people later. Also, don't just remove people randomly. It's a waste of time. Just prospect more people. Also, when you're connecting with people, you just want to judge no note or note, which gets you a high percentage acceptance rate because then you can have conversations with them. There's heaps of other shit you can do, like you can send Loom videos, personalization, whatever. Doesn't matter. And then you just want to have how many chats per week. But the thing is, you want to make sure you reach back out to the people who have the chats with you because a lot of people, what they do is they just have, oh, I've only got 10 people that replied. Now you got 500 people you can chat to. So you got way more people you can go back to, add more value, give more stuff. Then when you get to the messaging, make sure it's personalized and relevant. It's so much so that it makes the person feel special. And because you build this cumulative interest over time. Because if you pitch too early, you break the trust and the heuristics tick off that they're a salesperson. And when that happens, they're never going to listen to your messaging ever again. And when you're reaching out, cool. And when you use Sales Navigator, drill down to the really smallest number of people so you can send a hyper-personalized, hyper-relevant message to them. Either start with a no note or note in the connection request, whatever you want that gets a higher acceptance rate. And the question you want to ask needs to be a peeling back the onion question that can lead them down the staircase funnel to them, you offering them help to eventually get them on the call. And the most mistakes people make is they ask in the DMs and they fuck it up. So the way that you want to do it is you can go observation, case study, question. You're inspired by this thing, but the true way to do it is like lube the chat. Hey, oh, that really makes sense. I've heard of that before. Make them feel good. Add some value. This other client, this podcast thing I saw, this YouTube, I think. If you don't have like lead magnets and all that kind of shit right now, just send them something you've recently listened to if it's within the realm. So if you're like a mindset coach, right, be like, I just listened to this David Goggins thing at this. I think it reminds me of you. Here it is, right? It's a piece of value. They're going to see you higher. And then ask a question that's a peeling back the onion question to eventually take them onto the point where you offer them help to get them on the medium that they want to be in based on the avatar that they are. Sweet. That was fun. 2 hours and 7 minutes. Sick. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Next time, I'm going to go through the other pieces of the puzzle as well. But hopefully I've convinced you that you've actually got to learn the skill. You can't use templates and you got to invest in the time because the greatest thing is in business. There's a famous entrepreneur called Daniel Priestley. Was an Australian guy, now lives in the UK, obviously still an Australian guy. He's wrote books like called Key Person of Influence, Oversubscribed. He has an app called Score App. He famously says everything is downstream from lead generation, and I fully believe that. If you can generate leads yourself in your business, every other problem will disappear. And that's why Richard Branson has quoted before that what's the most important thing in business to be successful? It's just brand. And through brand, you create leads. And everything is downstream from lead generation, right? And you can create brand from messaging people, from posting content, building funnels, all that kind of stuff. But like, you just want to start because when you get good and when you can actually generate leads and it's a skill, like when you can go out there and do that for the rest of your life, you never have to worry about revenue ever again. Because most people, what they do in business is they build. Still recording when I went away. Do it real quick. They build and then they sell. And what you should actually be doing is you should sell, then you should build. Because the reason people build is because building feels good. Selling feels bad. So you should do the opposite of what you think you should do, and that's how you get successful in it, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This is how I built $1 million business on LinkedIn in 12 months through organic content and DMs. This is part one. Excited to get through the next one. Peace out. Catch you later.